Hey guys, you probably don't know who I am. I'm new here at TFL. My name is Alex, and today we're gonna find out if this Polaris Slingshot is the best car, the best motorcycle, or the worst of both worlds. This is a 2019 Polaris Slingshot SLR. It's a very unique three-wheeled vehicle. It has two front wheels, which make it drive like a car, but only one rear wheel, which means it's not a car. It's also not a motorcycle. You do not need a motorcycle endorsement to drive this in most states because it's considered an autocycle, which means it has three wheels and you drive it with a steering wheel and pedals. We'll start in front with the engine, and if we go up here in front of the headlights and push this lever down, we can, it's kind of tricky to do, but pull the hood back and it kind of rolls forward, and that reveals the engine, which is a GM Ecotec 2.4 liter four-cylinder engine, similar to what you get in a Chevy Malibu. This engine makes 173 horsepower, 166 foot-pounds of torque, and for those of you wondering the displacement, so you can compare it to a motorcycle, 2,384 cc's. So up front, we have this pretty big air intake up here. We also have our exhaust, which dumps out actually in the engine bay right here by the passenger footwell. Both of those things combined make for some really crazy engine sounds when you're driving this thing around. You'll get to hear that once we get on the road. So when you talk about weight with the Slingshot, that's where things really get confusing, and it's hard to decide if this is a car or a motorcycle. Total wet weight, fully ready to go on the road, 1,749 pounds. To put that in perspective, that's almost 600 pounds lighter than a new Miata, but it's also about 1,000 pounds heavier than your heaviest BMW adventure motorcycles. So on paper, it's really hard to tell how this thing is gonna handle on the road. Let's go take it out and find out. All right, so here we are, 2019 Slingshot SLR. Let's climb in here. Ugh. So first of all, driving this thing, you definitely do not feel like you're in a car, regardless of the fact that I'm sitting in a regular car driving position with two hands on the steering wheel. You don't feel like you're in a car, no way. First of all, I am so low to the ground, it's insane. Of course, it's an open air experience, just like a motorcycle. Totally open air, nothing around you. No A-pillar, no roof, nothing to get in your way of the beautiful views in Colorado. The road is right there, like I feel like I can touch it. And it's kind of tempting, I want to touch it, and I would if I had gloves on. I'm not going to do it now because I like my skin. But overall the feeling's awesome. And this windscreen works really well. It's cutting off the air right on the top of my helmet. If I was a little higher, I'd be totally in the wind, but where it is now is absolutely perfect. Visibility out of this thing, very good actually. Of course, you've got nothing in front of you but the world. Mirrors are a little bit lackluster, but that's okay. And of course, it's kind of hard to tell who's behind us because we don't have a rear view mirror. And all I can see is a bunch of plastic if I look back. So that GM engine sends all of its power to this single rear wheel, which is a 305/30 R20. It's massive. You find something like this out of a Porsche or a Lamborghini, the width of it is just insane. It's also belt driven, which is kind of like a motorcycle, more like a scooter actually than a motorcycle or a car, but I actually like that it's belt driven. That means less maintenance. We don't have a chain we need to regularly lube and adjust. This massive rear tire is standard on the Slingshot SLR, but if you get the lower trims, you're gonna get a 265/35 R18, so a little bit of a smaller tire, and that brings us to the different trims. There are 4 different trims available for the Slingshot in 2019. All 4 trims come standard with traction control, electronic stability control, ABS, and also electronic power steering. The most basic of the 4 trim models is the Slingshot S, and that pretty much is the bare bones driving experience. It starts at $20,999 and pretty much strips out everything you see on this Slingshot right here. Moving up to the SL, you get a few added bonuses. First, you get the 7-inch ride command display, which is actually a pretty cool feature to have. We'll get to that in a minute. You also get these premium aluminum wheels as an upgrade. Few other things you get are Rockford Fosgate audio system, which has Bluetooth and USB, and you also get this nice windscreen. So moving up to the SLR, which is the one we have here to test, this is the 3rd highest trim level, coming in at $29,999. What that gets you is turn-by-turn navigation added to the 7-inch ride command display. You also get this nice 2-tone paint job. We have ours in red and black. It's also available in orange and black. And then we have these sport seats, which actually are pretty comfortable. They're fully waterproof. We have a decent amount of bolstering down here on the bottom of the seat, and even more so in the upper portion around my torso. So with the SLR trim, you also do get a few added bonuses on the interior, and that comes in the form of Sparco parts. First off, we have this nice Sparco steering wheel. The non-Sparco one that comes on the lower trims is very plasticky, kind of chintzy, doesn't feel very good. You will also get this Sparco shift knob, which is rounded, very nice to hold on to, feels like a performance car. Again, the lower trims have this weird plasticky knob here that doesn't look like a shift knob at all. And lastly, down here, we've got 3 aluminum pedals that are all Sparco branded. The last trim is the Grand Touring, which is the most expensive of them all. You get a roof called the Sling Shade, which goes over the top. It has some color-matched Lambo-style doors that come off the side of it. You also get some comfort seats as well, and a 2-tone metallic paint job. So acceleration's loud, of course, because we've got the exhaust right there and the big intake up front. The acceleration's not going to blow you away, and neither's the braking. The brakes are so soft. I mean, it's really just not confidence inspiring, these brakes. It's crazy. Turning's pretty good. You can fly into turns pretty fast. Of course, it doesn't lean like a motorcycle. You don't get that connected to the turn feeling. The suspension's pretty good. It can get a little bit bumpy, especially because you have these 2 wheels in the front and just 1 in the back. If you see a big bump or a pothole, there's no avoiding it. One of your wheels is definitely going to hit. And it's not like this thing is small, it's just as wide as a car. It's actually kind of tricky to get in and out of the garage at TFL. So it's not as maneuverable. You're not going to be able to lane split or anything like on a motorcycle. Here we go, first gear. Doesn't have much. All the shifts feel super light. You're never gonna miss a gear. Everything's super clicky, very responsive up here on the shift knob. It's a very good feeling. Of course, all that power is going to the back wheel, and traction control is fully on right now. It'll still break loose a tiny bit if you give it a lot of gas around turns or on dirt or gravel. You can also turn it off into like a lower setting, where you could turn it completely off if you hold this button down right here for 5 seconds. Ready? Can your motorcycle do this? Yeah, baby. So up front, we have a little bit of a more manageable tire size than in the back. They're not quite as crazy, a little more standard to what you find on a car. These are 225/45 R18s, and something kind of cool, we have the Polaris Slingshot logo embedded into the tire. It even says SS. Really neat that they make these tires specifically for the Slingshot. So in the front here, we have kind of a funky headlight setup. We have 4 projector beams, 1 on each of the outsides of the vehicle and 2 on the inside. These 2 inside ones will act as your high beams. The 2 outside ones will be more like running lights. But one thing that is kind of cool is these lights are on all the time. There's no way to turn them off, similar to a motorcycle. You're gonna be riding around during the day with your lights on, which is good from a safety standpoint. As far as styling goes, you're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. It has that weird transformer kind of look to it. It looks angry, it looks fast, it looks like it's gonna get some work done on the road. You have some really aggressive lines going through the whole thing, and overall, people are just gonna look at you like you're crazy when you're driving this thing. It doesn't look like anything else. People look at it and they go, what is that thing? And for $20,000 to $30,000, you're not gonna get a vehicle that's as much of a head turner as this thing. The startup procedure in the Slingshot is honestly more like a motorcycle than a car. Of course, you do put the key up here in the steering column, but it only clicks to the on position. You then have to put your foot on the clutch and push the starter button just like a kill switch on a bike. So here is the 7-inch ride command display. We'll turn it on and you can see there's actually a really cool video animation they built into here. Kind of shows off the vehicle a little bit. And then we get into our touchscreen display. We also have some physical buttons down here, which is nice for if you're using driving gloves or something. And then we can cycle through. We have some different vehicle information screens here where we can view our range, different temperatures, voltage, engine hours, odometer, everything like that. We have our navigation, which is actually a little more responsive than I expected it to be. You can pinch and zoom pretty easily and get to where you want to go. We also have phone connectivity. We can connect a phone to play audio through. We can also connect a headset or some sort of helmet that has audio built into it instead of using the Rockford Fosgate audio system built into the Slingshot itself. We also have a music page where we can go through our different radio stations. We have AM and FM as well as weather radio, Bluetooth like I just talked about, and a USB connection as well. And then you have some volume controls right here. One thing I will say is that the screen is actually not as good as I'd like it to be. When you're in direct sunlight, it can be very hard to see, especially when you're wearing a helmet with a visor and sunglasses. I wish they would have put some sort of anti-reflective coating, because if it's in direct sunlight, you really cannot see a thing on this. You'll notice back here we have a backup camera, and when Roman first told me there was a backup camera on the Slingshot, I kind of laughed. I didn't think it was necessary, but after driving it around, it's actually a really nice feature to have. There's no back window or rear view mirror like in a car, so when you're maneuvering through parking lots and trying to reverse this thing, this definitely helps. The visibility is not great, but it only helps when you can see the screen. If you're shy, you might not want to buy this because you're gonna be talking to lots of people in parking lots and at red lights and everything. People are just gonna constantly be asking what this is, or if they know what it is, they're gonna be asking what it's like to drive. The seats aren't too bad actually. I thought they'd be a little less comfortable, but as long as you're like really pushed into the back of them and your back is flat against the seat, they're pretty good. They're actually softer than I thought they'd be. I don't know if I'd be able to go all day in one of these seats, but definitely a few hours wouldn't be too bad. You can see we've got some rain clouds brewing around here, and that's not a good thing. That's kind of where this thing falls short, because yes, you get rained on, which isn't the best thing in the world. You can have a car that's probably faster than this for less money that keeps you dry in the rain. You really can't come close to this in any car or motorcycle. This thing is just fun to drive. I mean, this thing makes you feel like you're 16 years old again when you just got your driver's license and you were just allowed to legally drive a car for the first time, and all you wanted to do is go drive. That kind of dies out after a while, and driving is just driving, especially if you're in a normal car. But with this thing, you're gonna want to go drive all the time. You're also just so removed, like you're really just driving this thing and that's all you're doing. Sure, you can listen to music in this, that wouldn't be a bad idea. I'd rather hear the engine. But if your phone rings, there's no way you're gonna hear it. You're totally just in your own world, having fun in this thing, and that's the way it should be. So right here we have our turn signal stalk, and I actually didn't know you could hate a turn signal stalk so much. It's really in an odd position, and I drive a car regularly, and I find myself having to look down and look for where this actually is to put my hand on it and make a signal. It's in an odd place. It's really just too far from the steering wheel. You'll also notice that we have cruise control, which is an interesting feature. Not sure you exactly need cruise control on this vehicle. This isn't something I think you would want to stay on the highway for hours and hours and just kind of sit there and cruise, but it's there if you need it. The gauges are pretty nice looking, but one kind of funny thing, you'll notice the speedometer goes up every 10 miles an hour till you hit 120, then it jumps every 20 miles an hour all the way up to 220 miles an hour. Now, I haven't tested this, but my guess would be that this thing would max out around 120, 130 miles an hour. Even at that speed, I don't think I'd feel safe at all going that fast in this. It's kind of comical that they say it can go 220. So up here we have a manually adjusting driver's seat. We can slide it forward and backward and lock our position in exactly where we want it. One thing I really love though is that these seats fold down, and then we have locking storage compartments right here. We have another one behind the passenger seat as well. That means I can stuff a full face helmet into these, lock it up, and walk away, go and do my errands. It's really awesome that I can do that. I don't have to carry my helmet everywhere like I do on a motorcycle. I think the compartments are a little bit small to fit a helmet and a backpack inside, but you can definitely split it up into the two compartments. And also, if you don't have a passenger, you can use the passenger seat as storage as well, as long as you make sure nothing's gonna fly out. You also have a locking glove box up here with some decent room to put a few things if you needed to. You also have a USB input for the stereo system, as well as a DC outlet if you need to charge anything up. One other thing you'll notice as we're going around the entire interior, the whole thing's made out of plastic, which normally on a car I would say is a very bad thing. On this, it's awesome. The seats are even made out of rubber. And that makes this entire thing waterproof, so it can get rained on, snowed on, and it's not gonna do anything, even to the electronics. So is it a car or is it a motorcycle? Honestly, it's really neither of those things. Sure, it drives like a car. You register it and put plates on it like a motorcycle. You're sitting outside exposed to the elements like a motorcycle, but you're not leaning, you're not using the same controls. You don't have the same danger that you do on a motorcycle. You're a little bit more visible in this thing. I wouldn't say much. Tommy's in front of me right now. I doubt he can see me when I get close to him in his mirrors, just because I'm so low to the ground. But it's definitely not a car. The problem with this thing is the price. It's a little pricey. You could get more practical cars for the same price. You could get way more fun and many more motorcycles for this price. But comparing it to other toys like jet skis, motorcycles, all that kind of stuff, ATVs, side-by-sides, this thing actually makes a lot of sense. Because it's a toy that you can drive to work every day. Unlike a jet ski, which just sits in the water, soaking up all your money every day. Overall, this is an awesome little vehicle. So what do I think about this Polaris Slingshot? Well, my first thought is that it's a big, expensive toy. It's not a car, and it's definitely not a motorcycle. It can be a really good daily driver if you have the extra money to shell out for one of these. I'm Alex Lightman with TFL Off-Road. Go back to TFLoffroad.com for more news, views, and real-world reviews.